Hello everybody, this is Thomas from Denmark coming to you with another video in my series on straight razor slash wet shaving. This is part 2 in the little series that I'm doing for my friend Timothy in the United States, who just received his first straight razor. Congratulations on that, Tim. Part 1 was about the shave. This is part 2, and this is going to be about maintenance, stropping, and just a few tips and pointers on how to handle the blade itself. The straight razor, Tim. This is one of the sharpest instruments that you will ever hold in your hands. Unless you become a doctor and a surgeon and have surgical knives to work with, this is probably by far the sharpest object that you will ever get your hands on. So please treat it with respect and care, because it sure does deserve it, and it's very unforgiving if you don't treat it right. Tip number 1: if the razor is not in your hand, it's folded. Whenever you put the razor down, that be during a shave or during stropping or whatever, when you're putting it down, laying it on a table, on the sink or whatever, make sure to fold it. There are a couple of reasons for this. Number 1, having an unfolded razor laying around is just, asking to get cut, because you reach for the razor, you might get cut, you forget it's there, you reach for something else, or whatever. When the razor can be folded down and the edge can be hidden securely behind the scales, that's what you should do. The second reason why this is a good idea is because the edge is extremely fragile, and if you bump the edge into a porcelain sink or a kitchen table or whatever, you might very well ruin that shave ready edge. Of course, not ruining the razor altogether, but the edge might get ruined, and meaning that it needs to get rehoned, and that would just be a shame. Tip number 2: don't cut anything else with the razor than hair. The razor is designed to cut hair, and like I mentioned, the edge is extremely fragile and you will dull it if you cut anything but hair with it. So even though it might be tempting to jump in the kitchen and try your new sharp blade on a bunch of innocent vegetables or some guilty meat, don't do it. You will ruin and dull the edge, and it won't be good for shaving with. Stick to simply cutting hair with it. This also, in this tip, is also included: do not try to see how sharp the blade is by touching it with your thumb directly on the edge. It will dull the edge, and you probably will cut your thumb. To see how sharp the edge is, you can do the hanging hair test. I have a video out on that, or you can shave with the razor. Of course, you have a sharp and shave ready edge. One day, if you get a little bit into honing and trying to restore some edges from the very bottom, you can feel the edge with your thumb a little bit, but don't do it on the razor you have now, because it's all honed up and shave ready, and nothing good will come from you touching the edge with your thumb. Tip number 3: if you are going to travel with the razor or go somewhere with the razor, and you put it in a bag, or a little toilet bag, put it in your front pocket, your back pocket, whatever, put a rubber band around the razor, or some tape, or a piece of string, or whatever, something to prevent the razor from opening. These boys have a tendency to open on their own. I learned this the hard way. I picked up a straight razor at the post office. Of course I couldn't wait to unwrap it and see what it looked like. So I unwrapped it right then and there on the spot and put it in the front pocket of my jeans, and then I went home. When I got home, I put it in the front pocket of my jeans like this. The razor had opened when I got home, and that was a shave ready razor. It had been honed and stropped, and when I put my reach of my hand down in my pocket, yeah, well, it wasn't the fingertip that it cut off, but it did cut off a chunk of my finger, and it was not a nice cut. So put something around the razor to prevent it from opening. That was tip number 3. Tip number 4. Whenever you have used your razor, make sure to clean it up nice and good. Cleaning includes first that you rinse the razor off with hot water, and then what I like to do, I take a little bit of hand soap and I scrub the razor clean, so to say. Now, I don't use a piece of cloth or anything else. I simply use my fingers when I do this. Using a piece of cloth or whatever, I would risk getting the cloth directly onto the edge and thereby ruining it. So I simply just take my fingers and rub some soap on there and carefully rub the edge like that. Or you can rub it outwards like that. So wash it, soap, hot water, rinse off. Okay? And when the razor is washed off and rinsed off, you're gonna need to dry it. This is very, very important that you never ever leave your razor sitting and resting somewhere when it's wet, because the blades are prone to rusting and they can rust extremely fast. So make sure you dry it. What I like to do is fold the razor up, and here I'll just do a rough dry with a towel. Then I'll open it up. I'll take a piece of paper towel and I'll carefully wipe water off of the edge all the way around, even the tang. So now the knife itself, the metal, the blade, is nice and dry. Now going to dry the scales. I fold the paper towel, put it in between the scales. I do one side, lift it, pulling upwards, and the other side like that. So it's all nice and dry. At this point, the razor is actually ready to be set somewhere, and it can rest until you're going to shave the next time. However, there are 2 more steps that you can do if you so desire. The first step is stropping. Some people like to strop their razors before they set them to rest for the next shave. I'm one of those people. The reason why I like to strop my razors after a shave is because it gives me an idea that the edge is fine, polished and clean, and I just like the idea of my razors sitting on the shelf being ready to the next shave, and that they're all nice, clean and polished. I mean, it's probably more of an idea in my head than it's actually you can't see anything on the, you can't see that the razors are stropped. It's not like they are more shiny or something like that, but to me it just makes sense to do it that way. So I like to strop my razors after a shave. Some people don't. Either way is fine. And then there's the final step, which is also optional, and that is applying some sort of coating oil to the blade. Now, I store my razors in my bathroom. I have a tiny little bathroom, and it gets very humid in there, and because of that, the blades are prone to rusting just when they're sitting on the shelf. So I always apply oil to my razors when they're sitting in my bathroom, which is where they are sitting most of the time. You can really use any type of oil that you have in your household. I mean, most of the time I'll use pre-shave oil because that's in my shave den, and that's very handy. Some of it is very sticky and sits on the blade for a long time without running off. But you can also use olive oil, or food oils, what you have in your kitchen. Some people like to use sewing machine oil or knife oil. I've never tried those. But oil is oil, and oil shies water, and that's why you want to put oil on your blade if you store it in a humid environment. Just rub a thin layer all over. Make sure to get the edges as well, spine and the tang. Fold it up, and it can sit and rest. If it sits and rests with oil on it for more than a month, I suggest you take the razor and wipe down the oil and apply a new coating of oil, because dust and little pieces of dirt and whatnot gets stuck in the oil, and the razor can be quite messy after some time. So take it down once a month and wipe the oil off and apply a new coating if you're not using the razor. Of course, if you're using the razor within that month, all you do is take down the razor and with a paper towel wipe off the oil and strop the razor, and you're ready to go. Please bear in mind though that if you're using some type of oil that is not good for your skin, you can get an allergic reaction. Because there can be just some small residues of oil left on the blade when you're shaving with it. So just keep that in mind. So now we're getting to the final tip of the day, and that is stropping. I told you that you do not need to go out and buy a whole lot of equipment in the first video, and that is true. You don't need a leather strop just yet, but Tim, I will advise you to buy a brush, because that leather that I did in my hand in the first video for you, that is nowhere near as good as the leathers that I can make with a brush. And in the long run, there are actually money to be saved on this, or at least you'll break even comparing prices with the canned goo. Get a brush. I mean, you're really gonna like it. So the leather strop can wait, because you can use newspaper, and I will show you how to do this. Excuse me while I fiddle with the camera here. Right, what I have here is a piece of newspaper. I think it's about 10 pages. I have a big book. This is to lift the newspaper from the surface of the table, and also to provide a steady and even and firm surface for the paper to lay on. Stropping is leading with the spine, following with the edge. Now, the good thing about straight razors is you don't have to worry about angle when you're stropping, because the razor is designed to have the correct angle when put flat down on a surface, that be a hone, leather strop, or newspaper. Because the spine is wider than the edge, the angle creates itself. So, follow with the spine, lead with the edge, no pressure, just light strokes back and forth. One stroke is forth and back, that's a stroke. You need to do about 20 strokes or so. And you're good to go. Do this before each shave. I hope you liked this video, Tim. I hope it was useful to you, and or anybody out there that's new to straight razor shaving. I really hope you like your razor, Tim, and I can't wait to hear about your first shave and how it went and everything. Take it easy, my friend. Bye.